What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Fly, and it's another installment of the What Happens After Wano Sanji edition. Previously we talked about Zoro and Luffy, and it's time to spend some shine light on our favorite boy, Sanji. In case you didn't know, Sanji is my favorite Straw Hat, and I can already hear some of the Zoro fans, aka the keyboard warriors, typing up like, "Oh, how could you bastard, shut your mouth, man, shut your mouth." Now, I'm just playing with you guys. I already said in a previous video that I actually love Zoro. And although Sanji is my favorite Straw Hat, he isn't my favorite character. Who that spot goes to, you guys will never know. But I digress. Just like previous videos, today's topic will be about Sanji and what happens to him after Wano in terms of abilities, power-ups, as well as bounties, also some character progression. The interesting thing about Sanji is that his power-up is directly correlated to his character progression and character development. Sanji has gained access to this powerful legendary technology known as the Raid Suit, most specifically Stealth Black. This suit is so famous where anyone from the North Blue immediately recognizes Stealth Black and the Germa technology. But the ironic thing is that while Sanji does not like, respect, or want anything to do with Germa, everyone that sees him with the suit believes that he's a part of the Germa kingdom and even brings up his heritage, which Sanji absolutely despises. But just like when Sanji accepted the suit and finally gave in and used the suit to protect his friends and his loved ones, eventually Sanji's gonna have to accept his heritage and the Vinsmoke family and make amends with that. And that's what I love about Sanji and his Vinsmoke plotline, in that he has to accept and forgive his family. Your bloodline does not make you who you are, which is a common theme in One Piece. The sins of a father carries on to their son, or their bloodline defines the person as they are, such as with Ace and Roger, Momonosuke and Odin, and Sanji and Judge. Sanji needs to understand that his bloodline and his family does not define him of who he is, and he will prove to Judge that his kindness and his emotions are in fact not bad. And in fact, it's very important to have emotions. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen at the end of Wano, but definitely after Wano, Sanji's going to have to make amends with his family. And I can even see a moment in the series where him and his entire family all go into the raid suits and they have like a family pose, reliving the comic book strips. Earlier in the arc, Sanji stated that he wanted Usopp and Frankie to do some modifications on the raid suit. We haven't seen exactly what they are. Many assume it's going to be cosmetic designs, where instead of the Germa symbol, it's going to have instead the Straw Hat symbol, which is nice. But we all know Frankie and Usopp, they're gonna modify a lot more than just cosmetic. Maybe they made it easier for Sanji to transform into his raid suit, so instead of the canister, maybe he has to use gloves. That's why he's wearing gloves at the beginning of the Onigashima raid. So maybe he just has to clench his gloves and then he can turn into his raid suit, because I think it would be a little annoying or inconvenient if he always has to have the canister in hand to transform into his raid suit. So expect to see further upgrades down the line with the raid suit. And in terms of Haki, we know that Sanji is best at observation Haki, so best believe he's gonna evolve his Haki even further. We know that Sanji's raid suit allows him the ability to turn invisible, which is one of his lifelong dreams. But what if Sanji adds on to this by upgrading his observation Haki to the point where he's able to conceal his presence? Now, this is an idea I got from Mr. Morris, shout him out, which I think is a very cool idea, because Sanji is a very stealth behind the scenes type of character, and we've seen with characters such as Luffy where they're able to conceal their presence, somehow being able to infiltrate a marine base with the highest ranking marines and Shichibukai. So Sanji gaining that ability where he's able to conceal his presence would actually not be that far-fetched and actually fall in line with this character in being such a stealth. Also, side note, I just really want Sanji to have a long-range attack, like do a Rankiek or a Storm Leg, but instead have fire coming out or something like that would be really awesome and be super useful for a character like Sanji, who is a very close-range fighter. Now, in terms of bounty, I can actually see Sanji getting an updated wanted poster, but instead it's him in the raid suit, and might even change his name to, instead of Black Look Sanji, to Stealth Black Sanji, to rub the salt in the wound. Because Drake himself, who is a part of SWORD, a secret division of the Marines, has encountered Sanji several times throughout the arc, and he knows that Sanji is in possession of Stealth Black, so that's going to give him a significant bounty increase. And I touched upon this in the Zoro video, but I would like if Sanji and Zoro had equal bounties, which I think would be very interesting, or I can definitely see Sanji having a bounty lower than Zoro's by like a very, very small margin, which would piss Sanji off, but it would be so funny. Like Zoro getting a flat 1 billion bounty while Sanji has like $999,999,999. But I could also see Sanji getting a bounty of 666 million as a reference to Germa 66 and the entire devil theme that Sanji has going on sometimes with his Diablo Jump. Honestly, bounties aren't ever really that serious, it's just really fun to speculate. And funny enough, Sanji's actually the character who cares about bounties the most besides Luffy. Every time there's a bounty increase or bounty talk, Sanji's always in the talks and wants to know what his bounty is and how high it is compared to Zoro. And one quote I really liked from Sanji is when he confronted Kuma with Zoro and he told him that out of everyone in the Straw Hats, he's gonna be the most dangerous one, which is honestly not that far-fetched with Sanji's lineage as well as his role in every arc in foiling the enemy's plan. Sanji usually comes clutch and does things behind the scenes, and he always comes in and saves the day. And one little interesting theory that I always had was that once the Straw Hats learn about the truth about the Void Century and find the One Piece, I always wondered, how is the rest of the world going to know, and how is that going to start a world war? Well, funny enough, there was a character back in Whole Cake Island that was introduced to be the head of the newspaper, Big News Morgans, and he has a connection with the Vinsmokes, and the comic strips of the Vinsmokes and Germa 66 was actually in Big News Morgan's newspaper. So what if Sanji is the one to reveal the truth of the Void Century to Big News Morgans, and he tells him to spread the world, and that's how the world finds out about the truth of the Void Century and the whole world war happens, and thus Sanji ends up being the most dangerous one coming from the crew because he revealed the truth. And another reason I would like that to happen is because, as I mentioned earlier, Big News Morgans and Vinsmoke, Judge and Morgans have some sort of connection, so maybe when Sanji meets Morgans, Morgans will tell Sanji more about his family history and the truth about Sora. Maybe Judge actually told him to write the comic book strip because it made Sora, his wife, happy, or something like that. Or it could be Robin that spills the beans to Morgans. Either way, Big News will have a role to play in the spreading of the knowledge of the Void Century, because I have no idea how the entire world is gonna find out. Not like Luffy's gonna sit there and be like, hey guys, I have a story to tell you from Laugh Tale. I just can't see it happening, but that's a video for another time. Now back to Sanji. Another thing that I would like to happen after Wano is that Sanji gains the ability of Future Sight. We know that Sanji's affinity is observation haki, and he's a very perceptive and fast individual, as seen back in the wedding when Katakuri shot that jelly bean and Sanji dodged even though Katakuri saw the future. We've seen how well Sanji's able to sense things, especially a woman in danger, like back in Punk Hazard when he felt the tears of a woman, he went charging in saving her. I think we should talk about the elephant in the room, or well, I guess fish in the room. What I mean is that the new monster trio a lot of people are talking about is, since Jinbei has officially joined the Straw Hat crews, a lot of people are putting Sanji's role in the crew into question, and even questioning if he's even in the monster trio, which is a little ridiculous, but whatever. I've spoken about this before, in that there will be a new monster trio, but instead it will be Jinbei, Sanji, and Zoro, the three commanders or the strongest people on Luffy's crew, while Luffy is now the captain, or well, he always was the captain, but he's not a part of the monster trio per se. As I said, many crews since entering the new world have been structured like this, where it's the captain and then they have 3 to 4 commanders underneath. Even the Marines are structured like this. They have the fleet admiral and then they got the 3 admirals. Luffy has been proving throughout the new world that he is above and beyond the rest of his crew, and there is a gap between them because he is the captain, and he is showing that gap. As we've seen with other crew members, there are the commanders or the rest of the crew, and then there's the captain himself. Back in Enies lobby, Sanji said himself that everyone has their own role to play, and even if he's not considered a monster trio among the community, he still has his role to play. He's the chef and he does things behind the scenes, and he always comes in clutch, so I'm not really worried about it. Also, will Sanji eventually hit a woman by the end of the series? Yes, I know he attacked Big Mom, but that was more of a protective way. But my personal thoughts is that I don't think he is, because it's intact with his character, and I think that's okay if he never attacks a woman. I think it's perfectly fine to stand 10 toes down and stand by your morals and die with them, because a lot of people are like that in real life. There's just some things they will never do and rather die for it, and that's just what Sanji is, and I think that's perfectly okay. Also, one more thing to add, somewhere down the line, I want Sanji to fight Kizaru at one point in the series. He might not beat him, but I want them to at least clash, especially for revenge back in Sabaody Archipelago and after all the things Kizaru did. And another funny note is that Kizaru's actually from the North Blue, so Kizaru finding out that Sanji is a part of Germa 66 and Kizaru fanboying over that would be hilarious. And I really could see a scene, or I would like to see a scene, where Kizaru is gonna attack a crew member and say, have you ever been kicked at the speed of light? And then he gets blocked by Sanji in an invisible raid suit and says, no heavy while smoking, and then we get a chapter and chapter break next week, all the fun stuff. You know how Oda rocks. But that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to rate the video, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay notified. Also follow me over on twitch.tv where we have live streams, chill, and have good vibes. Put down in the comments what you think of Sanji and his role after Wano, what's gonna happen with his character, as well as what kind of crazy abilities and power-ups will he gain. Hit those thumbs up and let's get this video to 66 million likes. That's not happening. That will never happen. And I just made this video very awkward. Okay. Have a good day and a good night. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Toodles!